If you weren't so damn stubborn, you'd apologize to Roz and everybody would be happy.
As usual, you're overlooking a key psychological component in this whole issue.
You'd have to admit you were wrong.
Exactly.
I don't see what's so hard about telling Roz you were wrong.
You don't understand. You see, it's not the same as Dad being wrong or you're being wrong. I have a degree from Harvard.
And that's from Fraser, and that is Fraser trying to get out of making an apology. And have you done that? Have you been afraid to say, I'm sorry? And do you know how to say I'm sorry? Do you give what Dr. Janice Abrams Spring, who wrote a book on forgiveness, calls the 2-second apology? I'm sorry. End of story. Or do you give the sanitized apology? I'm sorry for whatever I did wrong. End of story. People want understanding with an apology. They don't want excuses. They don't want, yes, but I'm sorry, but you did something wrong too. They don't want to be told that that you're sorry for, let's say, can you ever forgive me? You don't want somebody groveling. You really want them to sit and listen to you, to understand your pain, to be honest with you, and to see if they did misstep or if they did do something wrong, to own up to it, not to deny it, not to try to whitewash it. I am Dr. Ellen Kenner, and my show is The Rational Basis of Happiness. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I'm here to take your calls on any personal issues you're having, whether it's with your kids or with yourself or with a spouse or with your in-laws. Pick up the phone and give me a call, toll free, 1-877-DRKENNER. And I want to welcome Maria to the show. Maria, you're having some difficulty with anger?
Yes.
Yeah, tell me what's going on.
My anger, I think, is a result of an affair that my husband had 3 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
I have not been able to move on with it. And I think also because during the dating part of the relationship prior to us getting married, there was a couple of occasions where I did kind of catch him in some sneaky little moves, with other women and so on and so forth. And I think I moved that anger into the marriage currently. So then, I guess as a result, well, I don't want to say that it was all me, but he ended up having an affair, and I cannot move on in the relationship at all. I've tried. I've taken anger management classes and any little thing, anything. It could be, you didn't wash the dish, and I just throw the dish across the wall.
So something's going way deep inside of you.
Yeah.
You're laughing, but it's very painful for you privately.
Yes.
And so there's something that's probably didn't just begin with your husband. Although he had an affair for how long? Was it a one-night stand? Or
No, it was a 3-month affair.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yes.
A 3-month affair 3 years ago?
3 years ago, yes.
3-month affair. Okay, that's a long time to be betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the questions I have for you is, do you want to stay with him?
My situation is a lot more complicated than it seems. I'm pregnant now, and we have a little boy. This was an unplanned pregnancy, and my last pregnancy.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm due to have this baby in a couple of weeks. So I'm just trying to focus on that. But, because I'm trying to deal with the issues of the marriage, it's making everything more complicated. It's just turning everything upside down for me right now.
If you were... Yes, I understand. So what you're saying is that there are a lot of people will say, I would love to walk away from my husband or my wife, but, these financial times, one of us lost our job and we want to retire, or we want the house together. We would both lose the house, or we would lose our friends or the in-laws or whatever. Mm-hmm. So there are so many other considerations, figuring out what to do when a marriage is broken is really, really hard thinking. One of the books that I would recommend reading, and I'll give you some tips too, is a book called After the Affair. And
you wrote it?
No, I wish I did. It's a cognitive therapist who wrote it. That means a very good therapist.
Okay.
And it's the same woman who wrote the book Forgiveness, Dr. Janice Abrams Spring. And it's how to rebuild, the subtitle is, I'm paraphrasing it now, How to Rebuild Trust When a Partner Has Been Unfaithful.
Right.
And one of the contexts is to see what happened that led to the affair, And you said that you did think he was sneaky in advance, so you were kind of vigilant. You were looking out for that. Is that possible?
I mean, I'm trying to make this brief as possible, but it's just a lot of series of events, and like I said, when we were dating, there was a few times when I did catch him in some sneaky moves with the women, so I was always, very watchful, and as a result of my watching is how I found out about this other woman 3 years ago. And, of course, he denies everything. And
he currently denies it?
He still denies it, yeah.
And you have hard evidence? There's no chance
I spoke to her.
Oh, and she said what?
That, I said, I'm just calling because, I saw my husband's cell phone bill, and your number is very frequent on there, and I just want to know what your relationship is with my husband.
Yeah.
And she said, very bluntly, I've been effing your husband for the past 3 months. And it just shattered me at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, oh, well, that's nice to hear. I said, well, I guess that's all I need to know. She wanted to go on and on about detail, and I said, you know what, I don't need detail.
Yeah.
And then I confronted him with it, and he just swore that nothing happened.
When he swore that nothing happened, did it look like he was lying?
Oh, absolutely. I think he's a pathological liar because he lies about everything.
Oh, man.
I've caught him in so many different lies.
Okay, listen, I want to tell you what anger is, because you're treating it, it sounds as if it's a problem that you're having, that you're needing to get over the anger. And I think it's the reverse. I think that the anger is a huge signal from your subconscious saying that things are grossly unfair, that you have married a person whose character you don't admire. You may like some other things about him, but the essential in any relationship, the essentials are honesty and communication. They've got to be able to talk.
Right.
And he's not validating the facts that you've found out. He's not validating what you've discovered. So he is destroying his own character.
Yeah.
He is not going to end up being a good partner, and I question how he'll be as a father if he has self-contempt for himself.
I mean, on top of all that, I'm currently home due to the complications of the pregnancy, so I'm the main, I'm the head of house here economically. And I'm just doing everything on my own. And he got fired from his job, and I think it had.
I would love you to have the justice, and I can think of no better justice, number one, than reading the book after the affair to see if you even want to stay with him. I know you're pregnant. I know that's a huge complication, but that doesn't bind you for life to somebody who has hurt you, who has profoundly hurt you. And the feeling that we get when we feel an injustice is anger. Anger is your injustice detector.
I have asked him for a trial separation.
Yeah, so you may want to go that route, but I would read that book first.
He will not leave.
Yeah, but you have an option. The second point, and you need a strategy on how to do it. I know we're wrapping up right now, too. We have less than a minute left, so I may need to touch base when we get off the air. But another thing that you could do is read the books that really I felt rescued me. And they're books, they're novels. They're Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. And all of the 3 books I mentioned you can get at my website, drkenner.com.
Okay.
Because they're novels, but they will give you a tremendous sense of justice and help you gain perspective on the moral issues involved. And your anger sounds justified. It sounds grounded. I don't know all the details, but from what you told me, it did. So listen, Maria, I want to thank you so much for calling. And I want you to give yourself a big hug because I think you're going through a heck of a difficult time in your life. And hopefully things will get better. And I'll give you stay on the line, and I'll talk with you during the break. I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner on The Rational Basis of Happiness.
Here's an excerpt from The Selfish Path to Romance by Drs. Kenner and Locke.
We've all used or been the target of insults at some point in our lives. We're familiar with the sinking feelings and hurt that accompany such moments, not the warm closeness of soulmates, but the emotional turbulence of facing an adversary. We feel anger, hurt, guilt, frustration, helplessness, or hopelessness. We feel misunderstood, cast as a villain, accused of doing things we did not do, and of not doing things that we did do. In some relationships, this love-destroying cycle goes on for decades until death or divorce puts an end to it. When your partner, your best friend, has turned into an enemy, you both lose. Poor methods of communication are dysfunctional. They don't work even when the accusations are true.
Download Chapter 1 for free at drkenner.com and buy it at amazon.com.